I thank the organizers for giving me an opportunity to speak in this debate. I have been doing debates since my school days, and I have always come across formidable opponents. Here I have got a very learned lady speaking against me, and but whenever I have got a powerful adversary, I have defeated that adversary. So I think I am going to do the same thing this time. I start off with a quotation from William Shakespeare. Let me have men around me that are fat, sleek-headed men, and such as sleep o' nights. Yond Cassius has a lean and hungry look. He thinks too much. Such men are dangerous. Mr. Chairman, sir, and members of the House, Julius Caesar may have been right in identifying Cassius as the culprit, but then his observations on obesity are no longer valid. For as we know now, obesity is a disease really. It leads to diabetes, and it is also associated with cardiovascular complications. Can I have a pointer, please? If you look at this chart, here you see the x-axis. Oh, thank you. The x-axis shows the body mass index, and the y-axis shows the age-adjusted risk of type 2 diabetes. Now we see that as the body mass increases, so does the risk of diabetes. And if you look at this slide, if the body mass index is very low, then the mortality is high. If it is very high, then also the mortality rises. But it's a U-shaped curve, so this zone is perhaps the right thing for the patient. Now, it is my argument here that coronary heart disease and diabetes both grow on the same soil, and simply by cutting the obesity or diabetes, you don't cut the roots of this tree. This coronary heart disease will continue to grow even though you control obesity and diabetes. I will give you scientific evidence in my favor. I'll quickly go through this pathophysiology slide. This is how glucose causes endothelial damage, and there is accumulation of fat-laden macrophages, and these get incorporated in the atheroma tissue. This is that of the histopathological pictures of normal persons, no diabetes, and these are from diabetes. And if you look at the diabetes pictures, you will find more inflammations, more neovascularization, and more intraplaque hemorrhage, thereby giving rise to worse prognosis. And perhaps this more inflammation also explains why statins are going to be helpful because of pleiotropic effects. Now my question to the audience: if obesity, type 2 diabetes and coronary heart disease are interlinked, will the restriction of calories and good glycemic control take care of the excess heart disease risk in this population? The answer is no. And what do I have? What evidence do I have to prove what I am saying? Look at this study which was carried out in China, Darkwing study. The objective was to determine whether diet and exercise interventions in those of impaired glucose tolerance delay the development of diabetes. There were 577 people of both sexes. They had impaired glucose tolerance to start with, control group versus 3 active treatment groups. And what are these active treatment groups? Diet only, exercise only, and diet combined with exercise. They were followed up at 2-year intervals for 6 years, and later on this study was carried on for 20 years. And what were the results? Reduction of the incidence of diabetes by diet, exercise, and diet plus exercise. The more important thing is that the participants were lean to start with, and the net weight reduction was small. A 20-year-old follow-up showed that the intervention led to significant reduction of the risk of developing diabetes by 43%. Conclusion, it is not body weight reduction alone that is important in the prevention of diabetes, but other lifestyle issues are important. But what I am trying to say during this afternoon is that it had absolutely no cardiovascular beneficial effects. Now, this is a Finnish diabetes prevention study to determine the short and long-term effects of diet and exercise behavior on the incidence of diabetes mellitus. 522 patients, middle-aged and overweight subjects this time. Those were not overweight, and they all had impaired glucose tolerance. They were randomized into either an usual care group or intensive lifestyle intervention group. Control group, general measures, annual medical checkup. Intervention group, low fat and high fiber diet and circuit type exercise trainings. Conclusion, the intensive lifestyle intervention had beneficial effects and had less progression to diabetes mellitus, but there was no cardiovascular beneficial effect. US diabetes program, they had a structured state-of-the-art 16-session core curriculum that taught self-management strategies for weight loss and physical activity, and they had a toolbox of adherence strategies, tailoring of strategies for ethnic diversity, and extensive network of training, feedback and clinical support. They maintained a 7% weight reduction through healthy lifestyle. Results, lifestyle management reduced the risk of developing type 2 diabetes by 58%, and metformin reduced the risk of developing diabetes by 31%, but then there was no cardiovascular beneficial effect. The Indian diabetes program, here also they studied with lifestyle modifications and metformin. No additional benefit was obtained by combining lifestyle modifications with metformin. Here again, they did not report any cardiovascular beneficial effects. The Look Ahead research group, their data was presented in the NEJM, and they had overweight or obese patients with type 2 diabetes. The primary, they studied the composite effect of death from CV causes, non-fatal MI, non-fatal stroke or hospitalization. They followed up for a long time of 13.5 years. It was stopped early on the basis of futility analysis, with a median follow-up was 9.6 years. Weight loss was greater in the intervention group. Intervention produced greater reduction in HbA1c, but no statistical proof to show that cardiovascular benefit was obtained. Now look at these charts. How difficult it is to maintain the weight. Initially they had a weight reduction, but as time progressed the weight was regained. Initially there was improvement in the physical fitness with exercise, but then it deteriorated. The waist circumference became less initially, but then it became more, and glycated hemoglobin similarly came down, but then it rose. So initially you may motivate the patient, but the motivation does not last long. And what is more important is the fact that no cardiovascular benefit was obtained. Here is a chart from NEJM published last week. These are the drugs: orlistat, lorcaserin, liraglutide. You know, this has no CV benefits. This also has no benefits. Yes, liraglutide does have CV benefits, but terms and conditions apply, just as your dishonest mobile phone operators will put a small star and tell you that there are terms and conditions. I will tell you what the terms and conditions are. Rather unfair on the patient. Same thing, phentermine and naltrexone, no CV benefits. So, buyer beware, caveat emptor. This is a legal term. Whenever you are buying something, be careful, because it is your responsibility. So, we have seen that reducing weight, exercising, and the use of drugs to reduce body weight may have helped reduce body weight, but there were no cardiovascular benefits. What about bypass surgery?